Good afternoon, friends. We're coming to you here Friday from the law office of Alex Bill. Going to answer a few questions, but what I'm going to do today, I don't have a bunch of time, but what we're going to do is answer just a little bit. I'm going to start maybe a two-part series on DWIs because a lot of questions I get are about DWIs, whether I ought to blow, not to blow, the field sobriety test, things of that nature. So I'm going to talk a little bit today about whether you should blow on the breathalyzer or not. I've heard, and this opinion changes with every attorney you talk to. Some attorneys say never blow, never blow. Some say blow under certain circumstances. And so you'll get a different answer depending on who you talk to. But, I have a take on these situations. I was a police officer. I was a prosecutor. So I kind of have a feel for what evidence they are looking for to convict you of a DWI. And an important part of that is the breathalyzer test. So if you blow over 0.08, you're per se legally intoxicated in the state of Texas. If you blow under, you're not per se legally intoxicated, but there are other ways to prove intoxication. So the definition of DWI in the state of Texas is that you lose the normal use of your physical or mental abilities. So you could blow under 0.08 and still be intoxicated if the officer feels like you're still mentally impaired or physically impaired. We always use the example of, Bubba, who drinks, a 12-pack every day and a case on the weekends. And, he may drink 6 beers and be a 0.10. And he walks fine, talks fine. You can't tell he drank anything. So the breathalyzer or the blood test in that case will be important because the video may not show that he's intoxicated. But if you got a 90-pound person that may have drank just 2 beers, they might be under the legal limit, 0.06 or something, but they're having problems getting their words together, can't find their driver's license, insurance card or whatever. They might stagger, they might slur their words, but they're under 0.08. But in Texas, if you're impaired mentally or physically, no matter how much alcohol or drugs ingested into your system, you're intoxicated. So, and it makes me wonder how the state does this, but when you get stopped for a DWI and an officer decides to arrest you, then they put you in the car and they read this statutory warning to you, right? It's a bunch of it's a half a page of legal jargon telling you your rights about DWI, but you've just been arrested for DWI and you're supposed to be intoxicated, therefore have lost the use of your mental or physical faculties, but you're supposed to understand everything the officer's reading to you. That's what we call a legal fiction, okay? They read it to you. It doesn't matter if you understand it. They ask you at the end, do you understand it? Whether your question's yes or your answer is yes or no, doesn't matter. They just have to read it to you. But you're supposed to understand this, which is kind of funny to me. But anyway, what the officer tell you anyway is that if you submit to the taking of a specimen of your breath or blood, but breath in this case, then if you blow over a 0.08, your license is going to be suspended for for 90 days if you're over 21. If you blow under, well, your license is not suspended, but they'll try to prove that you're intoxicated through the other means, like I told you before. But if you refuse to blow, then your license is automatically suspended for 180 days, 6 months. Now, I don't know about you, but, you know, if you got to go to work, you got to go, you know, to the grocery store, go to the doctor, or whatever. If you don't have your license, that's, you know, that's not good. So, because people, you know, they still try to drive without, well, while their license is suspended, and then they get another charge, and eventually, if you get 2 of those, you'll end up in jail. But so the decision whether to blow or not to blow is very important. I'm going to give you a few examples, okay? If you went out and had a glass of wine at dinner, or beer at dinner, or whatever, but you have 1, maybe 2 at the most, and you get stopped, and the officer says, well, I smell alcohol on your breath. Do you want to give a specimen of your breath? You got to think about, am I intoxicated? And if you can probably reason through that, you're probably not intoxicated. But if you only had 1 or 2 drinks and it's been an hour or so, then more than likely you're not over 0.08. So if you blow, you keep your license, and the evidence that they're going to use against you at trial will work in your favor because you'll blow under 0.08. If you have drank a 6-pack in the last hour and you know good and well that you're over 0.08, at that point, I think you make a conscious decision not to blow, okay? Yes, you're going to lose your license for 180 days, but if you blow, you're going to lose it for 90 days. But the other part of that is that you give them evidence showing that you were over the legal limit. So I guess what I'm saying to you is that, for one, you shouldn't drink and drive anyway. But if you do, and you've only had a couple drinks, go ahead and blow. If you get arrested, go ahead and blow, so that you can prove that you were under the legal limit. Now, I hope the video turns out all right, because like I said, they can prove it through the loss of your mental faculties and or your physical faculties. But if you know that you've drank quite a bit of alcohol and you're going to blow over the limit, then don't. Because yes, you'll get your license suspended, but they won't have a number to prove that you were per se intoxicated while driving. So it's hard to say for sure under every circumstance whether you should blow or not to blow, but you'll just have to make the decision based on what you know you have done that day. But you know, if you can avoid losing your license and you can blow, and you blow under the legal limit or blood, then that's going to help you in a DWI case later. But if you know you're over, don't blow. Make them get a warrant to get your blood if they want to do that, and you just have to take the license suspension and get reinstated later. But the last thing you want to do is give them the evidence to convict you. So that's the first part that I'm going to talk about. Next week, we'll go on to the field sobriety test and how those work. And for those of y'all that do drink and drive sometimes and you think you might get stopped or you've been stopped before, you know, you can practice these tests, I guess. You know, you ever notice on the videos, the officers do the one-leg stand, the heel-to-toe test perfect. That's because they do it all the time. They practice it. So, you know, there's some people I know that can't do it sober. So if you know what's coming and you know what they're going to ask you to do, you might be better prepared for it too, if that case ever rises for you. So, well, I hope that answers some of your questions about whether to blow or not to blow. If you have any more questions, just send them to me. And next week we'll talk about the field sobriety test. Y'all have a good weekend.